Three HOA enforcers cornered my 16-year-old daughter in our own yard, their hands reaching for her while she stood frozen in her denim shorts, her voice trembling with fear. They called it a property check. I call it the biggest mistake they ever made. I'm a U.S. Marshal, and they had no idea who they were messing with. Before we start the story, please comment from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe. It was a Tuesday morning and I was fixing a loose board on the porch when I heard tires crunching on gravel. A black SUV with an HOA sticker pulled up to our gate. Three men got out, wearing navy polos and carrying clipboards. They didn't knock or call, they just walked onto my land like they owned it. My daughter, Emma, was by the chicken coop, throwing feed to the hens. She wore denim shorts and a t-shirt, her ponytail bouncing as she worked. She's 16, tough as nails, but still my little girl. I dropped the hammer and stood up. "Emma, come here," I called. But she didn't move. She was staring at the men, her hand tight on the feed bucket. The leader, a short guy with a buzz cut, pointed at her. "Yo, that fence post is against HOA rules. We're here to check it." Emma took a step back. "This is our property. You can't just barge in." The second guy, tall with a scar on his cheek, smirked. "We go where we want, kid." He moved closer, his hand reaching for her arm. Emma flinched, her eyes wide with fear. "Don't touch me," she shouted, her voice shaking. The third guy, younger, laughed and stepped toward her too. His eyes lingered on her shorts and he reached out, like he was about to grab her. Emma stumbled back, nearly dropping the bucket. "Stop it," she yelled, her voice cracking. That's when I lost it. I ran across the yard, my boots pounding the dirt. "Get away from her," I roared. The men turned, surprised, but the tall guy didn't back off. He kept his hand near Emma, daring me to do something. "You're trespassing," I said, my voice low, every word sharp. "And you just threatened my daughter. Step back now." The leader laughed. "Or what? We're HOA. We make the rules here." He tapped his clipboard like it was a badge. I stood between them and Emma, my fists clenched. I'm a U.S. Marshal. I faced down drug lords and fugitives, but nothing made my blood boil like seeing my daughter scared. "You touch her again, you won't walk out of here," I said. The tall guy sneered. "Big talk. You gonna hit us over a fence post?" "It's not about the post," I said. "It's about you thinking you can scare my kid on my land." Emma grabbed my arm, her hands shaking. "Dad, let's go inside." But the leader stepped closer. "Fix that post by tomorrow or we fine you $500. And we'll be back." He looked at Emma, his eyes cold. "Maybe we'll check more than the fence next time." That threat hung in the air like smoke. They turned and walked back to their SUV, laughing like they'd won. I pulled Emma close, her breath fast and uneven. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded, but her eyes were wet. "They scared me, Dad. They tried to grab me." I hugged her tight, my heart pounding. "They won't touch you again. I promise." That night I couldn't sleep. I sat in the living room, staring at the dark yard. Emma was in her room, door locked, music playing to drown out her fear. The HOA thought they could bully us because of a fence post? They didn't know who I was. I've tracked criminals across state lines, taken down men twice my size. I wasn't going to let these clipboard cowboys scare my daughter. The next morning, a letter arrived, hand-delivered by a nervous kid in an HOA vest. It said we had 48 hours to fix the fence post or pay a $500 fine. I crumpled the paper and threw it in the trash. Emma saw it and frowned. "What are we gonna do, Dad?" "We're fighting back," I said. "But not their way. My way." I called my old partner, Mike, a marshal who knows every legal trick in the book. "I need help," I told him. "The HOA's harassing Emma. They tried to touch her, scared her half to death." Mike didn't hesitate. "Send me everything. Names, dates, what they did. We'll bury them." I wrote down every detail, the men's faces, their words, how they reached for Emma's arm, how she flinched in her shorts, terrified. I sent it to Mike along with a photo of the fence post, a tiny crack in the wood barely noticeable. This wasn't about rules. It was about control. That afternoon I saw the SUV again. It parked across the road, the tall guy watching our house through binoculars. I grabbed my phone and recorded them, zooming in on their faces. If they wanted a fight, I'd give them one they couldn't win. Emma stayed close to me all day, jumping at every sound. "What if they come back?" she asked. "They won't get near you," I said. "I'm here." But they did come back. 2 days later, at dawn, the same three men marched onto our land. The leader banged on our door, holding a new letter. "You didn't fix the post," he shouted. "Now it's a $1,000 fine." I opened the door, keeping Emma behind me. "You're on my property again," I said. "Leave or I call the cops." The tall guy stepped forward, smirking. "Cops won't help you. We run this neighborhood." He looked past me at Emma, who was wearing her shorts again. "Nice outfit, kid," he said, his hand twitching like he might reach for her. Emma froze, her breath catching. I stepped in front of her, my voice ice cold. "You look at her again, you're done?" The leader laughed. "You're tough, huh? Let's see how tough you are when we seize your land for non-compliance." I pulled out my phone, still recording. "Smile, boys. You're on camera. And I've got a lawyer who loves a challenge." They hesitated, glancing at each other. The younger guy muttered, "Let's go." They backed off, but the leader pointed at me. "This isn't over." I watched them drive away, my hands shaking with rage. Emma hugged me, her voice small. "I don't feel safe here anymore." Those words broke me. My job is to protect people, but I couldn't even protect my own daughter in our home. That's when I decided I wasn't just fighting for us. I was taking down the whole HOA. Mike called that night. "I've got something," he said. "Those guys aren't just HOA goons." "The tall one, Scarface?" "His name's Greg Tanner. He's got a rap sheet, assault, harassment. The leader, buzzcut, is Paul Hayes. He's been sued twice for extortion. The HOA hired them knowing they're thugs." "What about the third guy?" I asked. "Kid named Ethan. No record, but he's their errand boy." I'm digging deeper. Meanwhile, I filed a restraining order against all three. "You've got grounds: trespassing, harassment, attempted assault." "Attempted assault?" I asked. "They tried to touch Emma," Mike said. "Her statement plus your video is enough. We're also suing the HOA for hiring known criminals. I need you to get more evidence." I knew what to do. My neighbor Jamal is a tech guy who loves gadgets. He's got cameras hidden in his trees watching everything. "Jamal," I said, knocking on his door, "I need your help." He grinned. "Saw those HOA clowns messing with Emma. I got footage. Want it?" Jamal showed me clear video of the men walking onto our land, reaching for Emma, laughing as she backed away. It made my stomach turn, but it was gold. "Send this to my lawyer," I said. Over the next week, I turned our land into a fortress. I fixed the fence post, not because they were right but to take away their excuse. I installed motion sensor lights and cameras, all legal, all recorded. If they came back, I'd have them on tape. Emma started helping, setting up the cameras with Jamal's advice. "I want to fight too, Dad," she said. "They can't just scare me and get away with it." I hugged her. "You're braver than they'll ever be." The HOA didn't stop. They sent another letter, demanding $2,000 for repeated violations. I laughed and sent it to Mike. "Add it to the lawsuit," I said. Then things got worse. One night, I caught Ethan sneaking around our barn, spray painting "Fix It" on the wall. I grabbed him by the collar, my flashlight in his face. "What are you doing?" He squirmed. "Paul told me to." "He said scare you?" "You tell Paul he's next," I said, letting him go. I recorded the whole thing, including the paint can in his hand. Mike used that video to get Ethan to flip. The kid was scared, didn't want jail time. He told the police everything. Paul and Greg were paid to intimidate homeowners, targeting families who fought back. The HOA's president, Karen Walsh, knew it all and approved. Karen was a piece of work, blonde, polished, with a smile that hid a snake. She ran the HOA like a dictator, fining people for tiny things like untrimmed grass or wrong-colored mailboxes. She thought she was untouchable. She was wrong. Mike and I built a case brick by brick. We had Emma's statement, describing how the men's hands reached for her, how their eyes made her feel dirty. We had my videos, Jamal's footage, Ethan's confession, and police reports. We sued the HOA for $100,000, harassment, emotional distress, and hiring criminals. The day of the court hearing, I walked in with Mike and Emma. She wore a dress, her chin high, but I saw her hands shake. "You don't have to testify," I said. "I want to," she said. "They need to know what they did." Karen sat across the courtroom, her lawyers whispering. Paul and Greg were there too, looking nervous. Ethan wasn't. He'd taken a plea deal to testify against them. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes, listened as Mike presented our case. Emma took the stand, her voice steady. "They came onto our land," she said. "They said it was about a fence post, but they got too close. One grabbed my arm. Another tried to touch my leg. I was wearing shorts and they kept staring. I told them to stop, but they laughed. I've never been so scared." I gripped the bench, my knuckles white. Hearing her say it out loud hurt worse than any punch. Mike played the videos, Jamal's footage of the men harassing Emma, My recording of their threats, Ethan spray painting the barn. The courtroom was silent, the judge's face hard. Karen's lawyer tried to spin it. This was a routine inspection. The marshals overreacted. The judge cut him off. Routine inspections don't involve touching a minor or trespassing. Your clients hired men with criminal records. That's not oversight, that's intent. Ethan testified next, admitting Karen paid them to send a message to families who didn't obey. She wanted to scare Emma, he said. Said it would make her dad back down. The judge didn't take long to decide. The HOA's actions were illegal and predatory, she said. I'm granting the restraining order against Paul Hayes, Greg Tanner, and Karen Walsh. The HOA will pay $100,000 in damages to the Marshals family for emotional distress and harassment. All fines against them are void. She looked at Karen. Ms. Walsh, you're removed as HOA president, effective immediately. The HOA is under investigation for extortion and fraud. Karen's face went white. Paul and Greg stared at the floor. Emma squeezed my hand, tears in her eyes, not fear this time but relief. We walked out of the courthouse, the sun bright overhead. Emma hugged me tight. Thanks, Dad. I feel safe again. But it wasn't over. The courtroom win was big, but I wanted change, not just for us but for everyone the HOA had bullied. I called a neighborhood meeting at our house. 50 people showed up. Families, retirees, even Jamal with his laptop full of evidence. We're done letting the HOA run our lives, I said. They scared my daughter, fined us for nothing, and hired thugs. Who else has a story? Hands went up. A woman said the HOA fined her $1,000 for a cracked driveway. A man said they threatened to foreclose his home over a late fee. A teenager said Greg yelled at her for riding her bike too fast. Jamal stood. I've got videos of their inspections. They targeted anyone who spoke up. We voted to dissolve the HOA. It wasn't easy, there were legal hoops, petitions and meetings with the county. But we had momentum. The judge's ruling made headlines. HOA terrorizes teen, pays $100,000. People shared their stories online and soon our fight wasn't just ours, it was everyone's. 3 months later the HOA was gone. We formed a new neighborhood council, led by volunteers, not power-hungry bullies. No more fines, no more enforcers. Just neighbors helping neighbors. Karen moved away, her house sold quietly. Paul and Greg faced criminal charges for harassment and assault. Ethan got community service and apologized to Emma in a letter. She forgave him but said, "Don't ever come near me again." Emma's stronger now. She started a blog, writing about what happened, warning other kids about adults who misuse power. Her words reached thousands, sparking protests against HOAs in other towns. My little girl became a voice for change. One night we sat on the porch, the stars bright above. "I'm proud of you," I told her. She smiled. "I'm proud of you too, Dad. You didn't let them win." I looked at our land, no more SUVs, no more threats. Just peace. I'm a U.S. Marshal trained to protect. But protecting Emma, protecting our home, that's my real mission. The HOA thought they could break us. They learned the hard way, you don't mess with a Marshal's family.